Arijit, I want to understand the bridging the gap between analytics and business. That will take us back into some of the major challenges that organizations face.
Right, so one of the things I always say and get into trouble for is advanced analytics and big data does not matter. And I usually pause there and get people freaked out. But the point is, it does not matter unless every level of the organization can leverage it. We are way too focused on the top of the pyramid. If you think about the access to advanced analytics people have, it really resides at the highest levels of the organization. The CEO has it, the EVPs have it, maybe some director levels have it, but if you go all the way down to the front lines, right, they do not have daily access to advanced analytics. Whereas that is exactly where you need advanced analytics, because these are the people who are really impacting your partners, your customers' experience with your company.
See, and one of the reasons, the way I look at it, is that the analytical community, so to speak, obviously has a vested interest in it to drive the idea that analysts are important, and you can agree or disagree with it being an analyst, and by the way, I am one as well. So there's too much of focus on hiring the best of the most advanced analysts, and unfortunately what they end up doing is 80% of the time nothing is to their level of competence requirements. It's mostly doing data crunching, mostly doing stuff that any graduate who's taught how to use certain tools can possibly do. So there's gross underutilization. Yet, as you rightfully pointed out, the focus is on analytics and not on the usability or usage of analytics. So this brings us to the question, who's going to solve that problem? Is it a problem that can be solved by analysts, which clearly I don't think so? Then from your point of view, where is the problem and where's the solution?
Yeah, so the problem is very much on, you need to segregate three parts of what an analyst does, right? An analyst does what, why, and how. What is, what do I need to look at? That's the part I usually use SAS and Stata for, right? Run those graphs, etc. Then there is the why. Why is this happening? That usually involves having conversations with business users, understanding what is really going on in the domain, to play detective, if you will. And finally is the how. How do I fix this problem, right? What remediation actions am I going to take to really have an impact? Today, if you look at an analyst, 80% of their time goes into the what, whereas the biggest impact comes from the why and the how.
So, and what about the missing data? Not in the sense that missing elements, but completely missing absent variables that need to be there. Otherwise, your modeling is at worst misleading and incorrect.
That's a brilliant question. What you can do is, if you do the right approach of statistics, the software can tell you what amount of overall predictiveness is your current variables giving you. Now, it won't be able to tell you whether the missing variable is the interview or the missing variable is what color clothes the person wore, but the software will be able to come in and say, hey, look, I see a missing set of variables that I don't have. Looking at the data, clearly there is something going on here. If I could only know what that variable was, I would be able to classify this better. And look at these 5 clusters, because those 5 clusters are the best exemplars of the cases where I can tell you that there is a missing variable. Right?
So you are saying that the machine will identify the most important patterns, so to speak, or the technology, analytical technology will identify the most relevant patterns, and then the job of the analyst should be to say, what's wrong here, why is it so, and what should we do about it?
Absolutely. All of our thinking is based on a human-centric model. But with today's computing power and capabilities, that human-centric model is gone. We need to think about how to use algorithms to do that. And that changes the equation completely.
Now, is your solution transferable from one domain to the other? So, for example, if you're dealing with a solution for banks, all of a sudden if we bring you a retail problem, is this transferable?
Absolutely.